Are y'all voting this year? Okay, cool. It doesn't matter who you are supporting, who you're voting. Just you can cuss, you can just be raw with it. You know what I mean? So, all right, we all set? Good. Testing. All right, all right, all right. What's your name?
Scarlett.
Scarlett.
Yes.
Your name?
I'm Shay.
Shay. Are you guys from Philly at all?
We're not.
No.
Not where you from?
I'm from West Coast, California.
California. Cali in the house. What's your
I'm from Connecticut.
Connecticut. All right. How'd y'all link up? How'd that happen?
We dance for Philadelphia Ballet. So,
Okay.
Yeah, we're here for the season.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna ask you guys a simple question.
Okay.
If you can describe Trump in one word, how would you describe him?
Passionate?
Passionate? How about you?
Real.
Real. All right, cool. So I take it that you support Trump.
Yes.
All
We
right.
got our pins.
Pretty girls vote Trump.
All right, okay. So just tell us why you like Trump.
I like what he stands for compared to Kamala. I've seen Kamala like putting on a face, and one thing about Trump is he will never put on a face. He's always been raw in who he is throughout the first time he was in office and now.
No.
It's always been the same. Kamala's switching up. She's saying one thing, then she's saying another thing. So
All right,
I'm
and
for
how about you?
I'm someone who's very about policy. I'm a real person, and I like how Trump is real. I mean, even from the first time he was in office, we saw how great the economy was. We saw how great our country was doing. We were thriving. We were doing great. And then as soon as Biden hit office with Kamala, who really did all the work, it went downhill from there. And honestly, I'm someone who will always be policy over personality. And that's always been something. Some people are like, I don't really like Trump's personality. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm someone who's real, and I don't like people who are fake and try to tell you one thing. The one thing about Trump is he has always been real about his policies, and they have never changed. His values have never compromised, no matter everything that's happened, what he's been through. And that's something I love, and it's passionate, and he fights for this country, and that's who we need in office.
Absolutely. I love y'all's energy. What policy do you like? Name one policy, any policy.
particularly for me, it's the gun policies.
Gun policy?
I know Kamala has now kind of tried to go back on that and say, oh, I own a firearm, I'll never ban it. But based on what she said in the past, that's not true. And for me, that's really important. My brother has his license to carry in Florida. As a girl living in Philly, getting my license to carry is something that I would want just for my own protection, especially as a woman. I feel like it's so important for us to learn how to properly use a firearm. And it's not bad for us to have one on us, because it's very easy to kidnap a girl, unfortunately, in a big city. So I'd like to be able to protect
Absolutely.
myself.
We need to be able to protect ourselves. And
Yeah.
she did. She cosplayed and said,
Yeah.
me and Tim Walls, we own firearms. And we ain't letting nobody, but we know that both of them are on record many times over saying that they want to come after our firearms. So how about you? What policy do you like?
I'm very similar with the gun policy. I mean, the guns don't shoot itself, so I think gun control like that's not going to get us anywhere. That's a mental health problem. That has nothing to do with the gun itself. And same thing again, we're tiny little women out here and living in a big city. Like, we have to be able to protect ourselves, because anything can happen at any time. And it's really important that not only if someone else is not abiding by the law, we need to be able to protect ourselves and defend ourselves. And that is our constitutional right. And I refuse to let that get taken away from me.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to go in reverse. One word to describe Kamala.
Fake? Two-faced? I
Fake
don't
as
know.
hell. How about you?
You took my word. I was going to say lying.
Liar?
Yeah.
Liar.
Okay. What do you not like about Kamala?
One thing I saw is she was talking to, I think, a primarily Mexican group, and she put on a Spanish accent. Now, my mom is an immigrant from Nicaragua, so I was raised in a Hispanic household. My dad's white, so I'm mixed. And so seeing her put on a face like that to try and relate to our community just really speaks to how truly fake she is.
Absolutely.
And that is what completely turned me off with her.
Absolutely. How about you?
I don't like the way she switches up. Depending on what kind of people she's around, what group she's around, and I don't like that. And especially even you hear about the policy she's going to have. Depending on what group she's in front of, she switches up. I don't like how she tries to target the younger group by having Megan Thee Stallion come out and perform.
Absolutely.
You're in politics. There has to be a level of professionalism, and she tries to say that she's all professional in this, but yet you're bringing out people just to try to attract the younger generation just by the popular people that you're bringing up onto your stage. to target these people. I find her as someone who just wants to get the vote and do what she wants. I find her to be a huge manipulator, and that I don't stand for. I will always be a real person. I don't tolerate fake, and I don't also tolerate BS policies.
Absolutely. Now, do you guys, as females, do you guys feel like you're losing your rights as a female, as a woman?
I don't. I feel like there is a certain line to be drawn on being pro-life. I think on if you're a minor and you were to be raped, and if you're saying you're forced to keep that child, that's something that should be under further review. But if it's in your hands and you decided to make decisions and you're an adult and you got pregnant, I do think that you should keep that baby.
Absolutely. How about you?
I'm a big believer in adult actions have adult consequences, and I would never be someone who would support abortion as birth control, not even from a religious standpoint or anything, just from a human being standpoint. I don't understand that in any way, shape, or form. We have resources, we have different forms of birth control, that is something that should never happen. But I do think that there are situations that it should be allowed, and it should be, like, I mean, a child being raped or like that. Come on, like that's just extreme.
That in itself is not human. That is something a monster would do to a child. That
And the child should
punishment,
have to live with
yeah,
that.
that punishment for that person who did that should be a harsh punishment, and it should not be on the child.
Exactly.
For that punishment.
There's definitely a line, and that's where it gets risky. But I'm 1,000% there. It has to be stricter, and I don't think I'm losing my rights by that. But if you think that you're mature enough to do adult actions, it's going to have adult consequences if you're not careful, and that's the truth.
Absolutely. Any last words just to give people that are watching and encouraging on just being informative or about the whole election, anything?
Well, pretty girls vote Trump. So if you're in Philly and you're a pretty girl, vote Trump.
Absolutely.
Do your research. The media will lie to you. The media will try to skew your opinions to get one person in office. And I think it's really important that you do your research, because I think you'll be surprised at who's really for this country and who's not.
Trump 2024?
Trump 2024, make America great again.
Absolutely, man. Y'all are awesome, man. All right, my man, what's your name?
Oz Sultan.
Sultan.
My first name's Oz, my last name's Sultan.
Okay. Are you from Philly?
I split time here, so I've been working a little bit with the campaign. I run the GOP club up in Harlem, so
Okay.
we basically represent 96th Street to 210.
962. So if you could describe Trump in one word, how would you describe him?
It's the solution.
The
You know?
solution.
I mean, I think that's what you got to think about right now, because like, look, we're up in that neck of the woods where we've got 20,000 Bloods between 125th and 145th. We have the Latin Kings, like we've got pastors involved. We've done a lot of the gang solutions, and all of a sudden you got Tren de Agua coming in. Okay, so all of this stuff is because of Kamala's, lax borders. At the same point in time, we're back to $10 eggs in the hood. Above and beyond that, child care is unaffordable, jobs are inaccessible, right? And that Section 8 housing that should be going to poor moms, that's going to illegals right now. So you could show up in New York City, be completely undocumented, and they'll hand you a debit card with 4 G's a month on it. But we can't get that kind of stuff for citizens. I mean, where's the fairness doctrine inside all this?
Absolutely. So I take it that you're supporting the Republican Party this go around. Good answer, too. If you can describe Kamala in one word, how would you describe it?
Just a failure.
Failure. Can you elaborate on it just a little bit?
I mean, think about it this way, okay? She said that she was going to do stuff for black and brown communities. We have seen nothing, all right?
Yep.
She said at the same point in time that she was going to secure the border. She has said this time and time again, and there's Axios is scrubbing these articles from the internet, right? And then the biggest thing I think that really matters to voters of any melanin content out there is, like, just be honest, just be truthful. Like, let's see something real, okay? And if every single answer is, I came from a middle class, we got it, you came from a middle class family. But what are you going to do to fix the issues in the hood? What are you going to do to fix the issues in poor white America? In fact, what are you going to do to fix the issues that you created by bringing all these illegals in, and now finally, like 30 days before the election, you're like, oh my God, I have to do something about this. We need policy. I'm like, you had 3.5 years.
Right.
They
They
create
gaslighted
policy.
us. Media was in collusion with the DNC, I truly believe. They played defense for the Democratic Party. They gaslighted the American people, whether you voted for Republican or Democrat. they gaslighted the American people for 3.5 years, saying that there was no issues at the border, inflation was down, that the economy was doing good.
Bidenomics is working.
Bidenomics does not work. But that's what they were saying. And now that they have come together and removing Biden and now putting their next Lord and Prince and Queen Savior Kamala, she's saying that she's reconfirming what we've been complaining about, the American people have been complaining about.
Citizens should be infuriated at the simple fact that the 25th Amendment should have been invoked and he should have been removed and there should have been a transfer of power. Now it would be Trump running against President Kamala, okay? But then everyone would be asking that simple same question. And I think that's why they're playing it this way, because she's not actually held accountable by the media for anything.
Yep.
And the biggest thing I think that you pointed to, okay, is like, let's look at the media coverage. It has been 87% favorable for Kamala. It has been about 92% negative for Trump. And it is every little dumb thing that a Republican does gets jumped upon.
Yep.
Okay, well, what about the fact she can't answer questions? What about the fact we have no policy? What about the fact that, like, you know, food programs aren't there, but they're there for the illegals? What about the simple fact that housing programs aren't there, but they're there for the illegals?
Yep.
And then now, you know, like, our kids are getting pushed down inside of education systems because of two things. One, they want to bring in, like, look, it's America. Be the lifestyle you want. But there's this thing called innocence, okay? And what we've seen under the Dems is a destruction of innocence in this country. You should not be talking to 9-year-olds about masturbation. At the same point in time, sexual education should be reserved for puberty. And you know what? If your child wants to get a tattoo at 10, you say no. But if your child wants to completely change their gender and have irreversible surgery, you're cool with that? You're not even like doing the psychological profiling they did in the 90s where it's like 3 years of psych in order to get this? No. And then you find out the subsidy bullshit behind this, okay? They're using Medicaid to pay these doctors $175K per surgery. It's a cash cow, you know? And it's like, if you look at the simple fact that 70% of your billionaires are Democrats, and they keep putting Republicans down the same way they did in the 1860s. They keep putting black candidates down the same way they did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And remember, Joe Biden had a black female Supreme Justice pick in the 90s. And he was the one that chased that out. You know why? Because she was conservative.
Yep. He blocked her.
And people forget this.
Yeah, very much. Any last words you want to tell people about the election, how they should maybe make an informative decision?
So if you are in New York City, Brother Sesson Adams is running for assembly in Assembly District 70, and that's mid-Harlem, and we're trying to make some change. If you have the opportunity to vote this cycle, I urge you to consider Donald Trump. You don't have to like what he says. You don't have to like the fact that he's marginally unpresidential, because she is too. But you have to consider the fact that you're hiring someone to do the job. And the job is a difficult job. Keep us out of World War III, fix these gas prices so logistics go down, so the prices of everything go down, and fix these crime issues and the illegal issues in our country. Because if none of this stuff gets sorted, we don't have a future for our kids.
Yeah, oi.